Greetings, comic book friends. This is rough for a couple of reasons. Um, so TGIW, thank God it was Wednesday. First of all, you'll notice that it's not Wednesday. This is being posted on Friday because I was out of town Monday through Thursday, and just picked up my stuff today. I just got done already recording this episode and realized that something was wrong with my microphone and it did not record any audio. So I have to do it again, which normally isn't that big of a deal. But the other thing which makes this week rough is that because it was so monstrably large, that recording it the first time took quite a bit of time because I have 18 books. 18 books. This is height primetime COVID Titan numbers. When I was getting, like around 20 books a week, which was completely unsustainable. Now there are 2 books that did not actually come out this week, but even that is not like, it's still 16 books. That's still way too much. Way too much. It was a really good week. Most things were pretty solid. There's one thing that I definitely should not have gotten, which I'll talk about. But for the most part, they're all great reads. It's just, and I did read all of them already in a day. So I took the day off work because I was out of town for work on Monday through Thursday. Like, I am not coming into work on Friday. But yeah, it was a lot to get through. So I'll start with the books that did not come out this week. The Silver Coin, number 15. This came out, I think, a couple weeks ago, but they were all damaged when they came in, and the replacement didn't come in until this week. And this book is going to be on hiatus. One of the creators, one of the creators of the series and content creators of the series recently had a child and is going to be taking time with that. Understandable. But it does say it's going to come back, which is good because I do enjoy that book. Second, The Approach. This came out 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there. So the writer Jeremy Hahn is friends of one of the shops I go to, and he is coming for a signing this weekend. And a friend of mine, I think a couple of friends of mine are going, and I asked them about this book, and they said it was really good. So I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up, read it, and then, I'll come get it signed. And, I might have a copy of The Beauty or something to get signed as well. Because Jeremy Hahn is who wrote The Beauty. This was good. I did really enjoy it. It has a very The Thing vibe to it. The Thing, not this The Thing, but the John Carpenter's The Thing sort of vibe to it. So if you like that sort of thing, if you like the sort of thing of The Thing, not this The Thing, then you might want to pick up this thing. All right. So I guess I'll start with the kind of negative-ish is. So again, they're not really super negative. It's just kind of, I don't know. So this is the book I should not have gotten. Sabretooth and the Exiles. I was so excited when I saw this. I'm like, I need that because I love the Exiles. Guess what? It's not that Exiles. It is not the multiverse hopping Exiles that I love oh so much. Evidently, in the normal Marvel universe, there is a group that they call themselves the Exiles. And I was fooled because it's Sabretooth and the Exiles. And in the original Exile series, Sabretooth, not our Sabretooth, but an alternate Sabretooth, was the leader of the Exiles. So I thought this was like a return to that Exiles. I was wrong. Um, Now, so I had put this on my poll file, and after I read it, I had to let them, like, you need to take that off. That's not what I thought it was. That being said, I did read it, and it was good. It was interesting. I'm not going to continue with it, as I mentioned, because I'm not really in the X books. But if you do like X titles, you like mutants, if you like sort of the bad guy's story, the bad guys probably ending up doing something good, then this is probably a good book for you. It was well written, it was well drawn, it was a good story. It's not for me. The next thing, again, it's not really negative. I just kind of have maybe negative things to say about it in general. Garbage Pail Kids Origins. So I liked Madballs versus Garbage Pail Kids a lot better than I've been liking Garbage Pail Kids Origins. And I'll tell you why. So in Madballs versus Garbage Pail Kids, it just accepted the reality that these weird things existed. Garbage Pail Kids were a thing. Madballs were a thing. And they both moved in the same neighborhood and shenanigans happened. Garbage Pail Kids Origins tries to give, as the name suggests, an origin to the Garbage Pail Kids. And it doesn't really work. It tries to place it in reality, in like an actual reality, saying this is where Garbage Pail Kids came from. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. Not that I would expect it to make sense. But it doesn't make sense like in the not metaphysical, but in, like the comic meta sort of way. It's like that doesn't really work. Like they were originally normal human beings, and then something happened, and now they're these freaky looking weird things with powers. It doesn't really work. Now, it doesn't mean the book is bad, right? So the first issue was more about their origins. This is just like continuing on with the story. Take it for granted that these Garbage Pail Kids exist from issue 1. Now they're just going and doing things. So that's fine, but the idea of the Garbage Pail Kids having an origin like this doesn't really work. Now, the Garbage Pail Kids movie back in the 80s, that was fine, because that was the Garbage Pail Kids are aliens. Sure, they definitely do not look like normal humans, and their spaceship looks like a garbage can. That's all I needed. That's all I needed as a kid. That's all I need now. Sure, they're weirdo aliens. It explains why they have freaky weirdo powers, because they're aliens. But trying to give it like an on-Earth explanation, it doesn't really work. Again, the book was still good. It was still, good. It was still fun. But I guess I just don't need that origin. The third thing that I guess I have some nits to pick is Fantastic Four #1. So coming off of Dan Slott's epic run of Fantastic Four, we have, I believe it's Ryan North is taking over Fantastic Four. So first I'll say that this was a very, very good comic. The story was very, very good. I enjoyed it very much. However, this is a Fantastic Four #1. I think there are certain expectations of a Team Books #1 being that you will see the team in it. This is The Thing story. This time we're talking about The Thing. It's The Thing and his wife Alicia Masters, or Alicia Grimm, I guess. Did she take his last name? I don't remember. Whatever. It's Ben and Alicia going on a little vacation or whatever, and running into weirdness. The story, the art, it's all very, very good. And I don't mind, like, in an ongoing team book, that every once in a while an issue is like, we're just focused on this one character. It's fine. It happens. They can be great. When it's a brand new writer on, not a brand new writer, he's been around, but a new writer on a series with a number 1 of that team book, I kind of expect to see the team. And I want to see how he writes the team. One of the most important things about the Fantastic Four is the dynamic between them. And you don't get that at all, which is kind of disappointing. Again, great story, great art. It's just not what I expected or want out of a number 1 from a team book. That being said, going forward, it will be a team book, right? I'll get that. We'll get that. It's kind of weird to not get that in the number 1. Next, another team book, Batman Incorporated. I got the first issue of this and I loved it. The second issue did not disappoint. Story here, Ghostmaker. The people that trained him and Bruce are being hunted. And Ghostmaker, along with the rest of Batman Incorporated, are going out to find them and trying to save them, warn them, whatever. The problem being, Ghostmaker is known as, like, a bad guy. So whenever he or people who are associated with him go to these mentors, they assume that they're trying to kill them, when actually they're trying to save them. But it is really cool seeing these mentors that trained Ghostmaker and of course, Bruce. But it's a really good story. I do love the incorporated characters. So I'm going to continue on with that book. While we're in the Batman area, Batman versus Robin. So this is following up out of the Robin ongoing. You know, that ended and it's like to be continued or concluded or whatever in Batman versus Robin. So like, yeah, I have to get that because I love that Robin series. It was so good. This isn't quite what I expected. Again, it's not bad, but it's not what I expected or what I wanted. What I wanted was a legitimate Damian versus Bruce at war sort of book. Because before the Robin ongoing, Damian left Bruce and was like, look, nuts to you. We're not getting along. I'm not agreeing with some of your stuff. I'm going to go on my own. And then he went to Lazarus Island and all that stuff happened. On him coming back, I was hoping that he's like, yeah, I had some time to think. I realized I'm my own person or whatever. There's these things that we disagree with, and somehow one or another things escalate and they end up going at war, like legitimately at war with each other. That's not what it is. It's what I wanted, what I hoped for. It's not what it is. It's more mind control-y. Damian's being mind controlled, or we'll say influenced, because Damian's still in there. He talks like Damian. He has Damian's memories and everything. But he's definitely being somewhat influenced. That's making him fight Bruce. But I was hoping it'd be sort of this all-out, like, no, it's actually Damian is going after Bruce for some reason. Whether it be a misunderstanding or what, I don't know. But I think that would have been really interesting. But this really should be Batman versus Robins, because other Robins are there, have been similarly affected as Damian has. But there's some really good moments in here where, as they're fighting, Batman and these Robins say something. It's like, dude, you are not a good father figure or role model. And the things they say, like, they're not wrong. And some of the things kind of sets Bruce aback. He's like, oh, maybe they're right. That all gets washed away because doesn't mean that they weren't right. They were absolutely right. But it's a good book. It's just not exactly what I had wanted. Moon Knight 17. This book is so good. Not just the story that's going on in the current storyline, but this book in particular. This issue is great. So Moon Knight is fighting this cabal of vampires that is trying to take over the eastern seaboard. They obviously don't want him to. They send out a couple of assassins, and this is just kind of the real battle with those assassins. And there are just some really great moments in here that are like, first of all, Moon Knight's super badass. Just the way he thinks, the way he talks, his attitude, the way he fights, the things he's able to do in sort of his place of power. It's so good. Sorry, I need to take a drink. Been talking a lot, not just here, but when I just did this episode, recorded the audioless video. God, when I saw it, I was so. Anyway, so these Star Trek one shots have been amazing. They've been so good. So this one is focusing on the Trill. The Trill, I think, is a very, very interesting species. If you're not familiar, I think we first showed up in Deep Space Nine with Jadzia and Ezra Dax. So the Trill are a humanoid species, as you see, that have this connection with symbiotes that can be surgically implanted in them. And it's voluntary. Like the Trill, not all of them get them. They have to apply and go through training and all that stuff, but it's completely consensual. But the symbiotes have a much longer lifespan than the Trill hosts do. So when a Trill and a symbiote are joined, they become sort of this combination a combination being of a merger of the symbiote and the Trill host. When the host dies, the symbiote can live longer, so it's removed and it can be placed into another Trill. The thing is when they get joined, the personality, the essence, the persona of the Trill gets imprinted on the symbiote. So when it gets placed in another Trill, it actually becomes just amalgamation of the symbiote and all of the Trill that have been before and the current host. It's just a really interesting dynamic between these two races. Anyway, this is a story just about a Trill, and it's just very, very good. But I'm always surprised by these Star Trek one-shots, and every time I get one, I'm like, do I really need it? Because they're not cheap. They're like $8. I mean, it's a thicker book, but every time I read one, they're like, this was good. It was so good. Strange Academy Finals #1. I don't really understand what they're doing here, because I don't know why this isn't just Strange Academy number whatever. Why this has to be its own limited series, because it's just the continuation of the normal series. It's just where the previous one left off. It's like, yep, this is the stuff that's happening. So I don't know why they did it this way. It's the same creative team, everything. I think this might be just like the end of Strange Academy. Like they had the ongoing, and then instead of just ending it in the main series, like, well, we'll end it at a place here. We'll end the ongoing series here and wrap it up with a limited. But why not just make it the series? I don't know. I think that's dumb. But anyway, the school's kind of split. There are students that are kind of against the school and the faculty, and those that stayed with them. And yeah, so if you haven't been reading Strange Academy, don't get this. It's not going to mean anything to you. It's not going to make any sense, which is why I make it a limited series. I don't get that, but it was good. It's very interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes. Next, we have a couple of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Armageddon game books. First, just the regular TMNT number 134. Yes, 134. Very good. This doesn't have a lot to do with the gods that are playing the Armageddon game. It has more to do with what's going on the street in Mutant Town, which is great. It doesn't have to do with what's going on actually with most of the turtles. Donatello and Janika are there, but it's just kind of mostly like what's going on in Mutant Town sort of thing. It's very good. And then the side story, limited story, Armageddon game, The Alliance. So this is a small, I think it's a limited series, maybe one or two or three issues. It's more than just a one shot. But with Shredder Orokosaki's granddaughter, and sort of her realizing she kind of has to step up a little bit when it comes to running the Foot Clan. And it's just all about her. And at the end, it's her like, I need to go make alliances, as the name of the book suggests. A couple more. Oh, I guess not more. A few Spider-Man books this week. Spider-Man number 13. This is okay. It's not the best run in Amazing Spider-Man history, for sure. But it's not horrible. So we have two hobgoblins running around. And it's maybe hinted at there's somebody else pulling those strings. And this kind of goes into what their intent is of why they're doing what they're doing. Of course, the reformed Norman Osborn is there, which I'm really enjoying that reformed Norman Osborn. Like, I believe him. I believe that he is good and trying to be good. Peter, not so much. Trusting him, understandably, because he's done a lot of horrible, evil things. But I do kind of like it's just fun seeing like them on the same side. Like, oh, that's the Green Goblin. Like, it's bad dude. Did some bad things, but they're like, he cares about Peter and wants to help him. It's just interesting. We'll do, let's see, Spider-Man: The Lost Hunt number 1. So this is a kind of a retro issue. It's not taking place in the current time. It's going back to when Peter Parker thought he was the clone, and living in Portland, and also didn't have any powers. So I'm curious to see where this goes, because it's a Spider-Man story, but it's with a Spider-Man that doesn't have powers. But I do like these kind of issues that go back in time and sort of like, hey, it's just a story during this time way back when, especially in a time where the focus wasn't actually on this character. The focus was on Ben Reilly, who we thought was Peter Parker. So to go back and say, hey, what was going on with the real Peter Parker during this time? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because there is a villain who is like a bad powered villain. What is the overall story going to be with a Peter Parker who doesn't have powers? So, but the first issue was fun, was good. I'm curious to see where it goes. Spider-Man number 2, the third and final Spider book this week. So it's Spider-Verse stuff, which I've always enjoyed. The Edge of the new Edge of Spider-Verse books that have come out, and the new characters have been great. They all kind of show up here. And we're just getting more of this story being fleshed out. Curious to see where it goes. There's some very cool stuff in here. They go to another universe that isn't part of the web, and what that universe is, I think, is really, really neat. It's really meta, but it's cool. But yeah, I'm liking that so far. But it's Spider-Verse, so how would I not like it? Ghost Rider number 8. This, I don't know. This book, like, I think I want to like it more than I am liking it, and I think the potential is there. I really do, but it just feels like it's moving very slow, and not a lot is really happening. And for a book called Ghost Rider, there's not a lot of Ghost Rider in it. Like, I was really excited to get with this book because it's Johnny Blaze coming back. But it's been like all Johnny Blaze and almost no Ghost Rider, which, when I get a Ghost Rider book, I want to see Ghost Rider. When I get a Fantastic Four book, I want to see the Fantastic Four. I mean, you got to give me something here. But I'll stick with it for a little bit. And if it picks up, then great. If not, then I might have to cut it. Let's see. Number 2 of Orc Island. It's kind of hard to tell. That's what the title says, but that's what it says, Orc Island. The next, so the I was at last week, the first new bad idea books came out. One of them was Orc Island #1. We get Orc Island #2. It was my favorite of the two. #2 is good. I actually kind of like it a little bit better. The premise of Orc Island is it takes place in sort of a fantasy world where orcs. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why and whatnot, but orcs live on an island that's sort of magically protected. The skulls of orcs are very valuable in normal fantasy society. So, and it's hard to get to that island because it is magically protected or cut off. But to go there and hunt orcs and bring their skulls back is something people do for riches. So in the first issue, it kind of explains that and gets kind of our party together and says, we're going to Orc Island. Here, they get to Orc Island, and we kind of get to the real meat of the story, I think. And it feels like it's going to be, after reading this issue, it feels like it's going to be a little bit deeper than what the first issue felt like. And that's a good thing. The first issue was like, okay, we're going to go kill orcs and get skulls. Adventure! This is starting to feel like there's more to it than that, which, again, is good. And lastly, Superman, Son of Kal-El. This book continues to be great. This is what, part 4, and Kal-El returns. The previous issue was #1 of Kal-El returns, I think. So 2 and 3 are likely in Superman in Action Comics, which would make sense, which I do not read and did not pick up. However, despite this being part of a crossover with books that I do not get, both the previous issue and this issue were fantastic. I really appreciate when you have these kinds of crossovers like this, that each individual issue itself can be enjoyed in and of itself, can be enjoyed on its own. And that is definitely true here. The previous issue was great, very heartwarming, very heartfelt, some great moments. And the same thing here. There's some really, really great father-son moments in here. It's very, very, very good. It still looks like it's wanting to continue the story of this book itself, of Superman, Son of Kal-El. It's mostly about Clark and John, and their relationship, but it's very, 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 very good. I cannot recommend that book enough. It's so good. But that is it. A heck of a week. 18 books total. That was a lot of reading I did today. But for the most part, it was all pretty great. I'm not gonna say it was easy to get through. It was a lot of reading to do. But it was all pretty enjoyable. Even the stuff where I was like, it was still good reads. So I'm actually very surprised with this amount of books, how solid the content was. But that is it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you had a big of a week as I did. Well, you probably didn't have as big of a week as I did. You're probably more reasonable than I am. But was it just a bigger week in general for you? I think I heard maybe it was just kind of a big week. It's still no excuse for having this many books. So even being a big week, I should not be hitting numbers like this. I'm not trying to make excuses. It's no one's fault but my own. But it is what it is. But anyway, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And of course, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.